So I'm a raging idiot. Well, in an ironic twist of fate here, I can't find my bottle wrench. So I either, it's either somewhere buried with all my other welding shit, or it's in a pile of junk over there under a bench that I am not digging through. So boy, isn't that ironic. No, I'm going to use the adjustable wrench I said don't use. If it'll even work. I didn't even check that. Yeah, okay. I had to check to make sure. I have one that doesn't work with an adjustable wrench. That's the biggest adjustable wrench I have. You want to purge your valves. Another thing, see this stupid little cap? Whatever you do, don't lose that thing, because when you go to take your bottles back, the gas man gets mad. Extinguish all smoking devices when you do that. So you want to check, you just want to do that, and then I know this one's okay. I'm going to visually check this one. Mud wasps, they love to make, these are like beautiful places for mud wasps to live. They climb in here, especially if your bottles are stored outside, which all bottles should be stored outside. They get inside of there and they make little houses. For whatever reason, they love climbing into these valves and making little homes, which then jams up your equipment. Voice of experience. You see I have Mutt and Jeff going on here with his bottles, so I'm going to end up having to split this a lot more than I normally would. It doesn't matter, you can split these completely. They're not really held together all that great with anything. Oxygen on. I don't normally put, see how I'm kind of jiggling that a little bit? I don't normally put Teflon tape on the valve fittings. You shouldn't have to, ever. It's not, you should never have to put that. You shouldn't ever have to put Teflon tape on valve fittings. This around there. And now I'm going to do something else that's a little off. And that's, I'm going to turn my acetylene, because this bottle is so short, I'm going to tip I'm going to run the regulator kind of on its side a little bit. Now, my bottles are chained in. The acetylene bottle isn't all that great, but it is chained in. I've had bottles tip. Thank God I've never had one snap a regulator off, but if you snap a regulator off a bottle, you kind of want to you don't want to be around when it happens, or actually, well, for a gas bottle, for a fuel bottle, you definitely don't want to be around when that happens. Oxygen bottles, unless you got a fire going, oxygen does not fucking burn. It's not TB. Oxygen does not burn. I try not to put these down with too much force, because I'm going to split this even more, because I don't want, my other ones I had a pretty steep bend in the hose, and I think that, along with them being Chinese hoses, played a pretty big part in my last torch. Now, it was purely Chinese hoses. I have one of these that I've had it bent like that for a decade and it never kinked. But I want to make sure this doesn't kink. I'm going to leak check this. When you leak check, I'm gonna go grab my leak check. You don't need a whole lot of soap. I see guys, they put like crazy amount of soap in here. And this is Dawn dishwashing soap. There's no oil in it. They make leak check, but experience has taught me that it isn't all that great, or it's not that much different than Dawn. So less is more, in my experience. You want just enough. You want just enough. You want just enough soap in the water to make bubbles easily. These usually don't need to be tightened with a wrench. So let's put the cutting tip on, because that's ironically the one I usually, I know I just bitched that I don't use the cutting torch all that much, but that is the one I generally use the most, if that makes a whole lot of sense. Nothing I ever say makes any sense. But it's also one that has an extra valve in it that you need to check. Let me make sure my valves are off. My valves are shut. Poop, propane, oxygen. Oxygen, propane. That should be tight enough. It pisses me off. I don't know where my bottle wrench is, because the bottle wrench has the fitting, has the wrench size for this. It's got to be over here in this pile of shit. So let's turn our gas on. Now, you'll notice that I'm actually not smoking. Another thing I did was I backed these regulators all the way out. So this bottle of oxygen is almost full, and this bottle of acetylene is full. So we're going to check these joints first. And you want just enough soap to stick, but not so much soap as that everything's sticky, if that makes any sense. Now I'm checking everything. This is a brand new setup, and you want to leak check. Every time you swap bottles. I know some guys that do it more often than not. I only do it when I swap the bottles. So we have no pressure going to any of the equipment right now. I'm going to crack these lines, and I'm going to start running gas. I'm sniffing for gas. I am a complete and total raging asshole. I put my check valves on backwards. So now I have to, now I gotta purge all the fucking gas out of this thing. And there's an arrow right on them that says flow. Well, we know that the spark arrestors work then. We'll be back in a second. It says it right on there, and I'm an asshole. Flow. Yeah, it goes right up there, not knowing where my torch bottle is, or torch wrench is. So I'm a raging idiot. I'm not going to take total. I'm not going to take total heat for this, even though it is my fault. These are not flashback arrestors. These are check valves, and the check valves actually go on the regulator, but the instructions don't tell you to put the check valves on the regulator. The instructions tell you to put flashback arrestors on the torch. They don't say shit about I thought these were flashback arrestors, and they're not. So, because when I went to go turn the torch on, the torch wouldn't work. Well, why wouldn't the torch work? Well, because the flow is this way, Or wait, no. The flow is this way. Well, the only way to get this fitting to work is to put it on the regulator. You know, that's my fault, I guess. It was a little irritating, to be honest with you. The upside is it's easier to work on these when they're on the bottles. So, back to square one here. Boy, I feel like a total jackass. This is my first new set of torches in a while, but that's still a little weird. So yeah, these go in here. There's already Teflon tape on there, so I'm not going to put any more on, and I'm going to leak check it. So apparently these, I don't know, man, whatever. Boy, that was like, you got to be fucking kidding me on that one. I know. And I know there's some guy from Miller or some other, you know, ancient welder out there goes, oh, you're a fucking retard. Yeah, you know what? I'll take that hit. Even though it's funny because it specifically says right on the, it specifically says right in the instructions, install flashback arrestors right on the torch handle, which is the way I've done it literally my entire career. And it's not like I just started doing this shit last week. I mean, I've been futzing around with gas bottles and oxyacetylene torches since I was 12 years old. But never installing brand new ones. You know, that'll be my, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And I feel like a total jackass for doing so. Now, on the flip side of this, is I actually have another set of, I actually have a set of flashback arrestors, but I just checked, and they work. Or at least they stop, when I try to blow through them the wrong way, no air comes out, so they work. And we will be installing those on the torch handle exactly the same way I put them on the last time. But I'm not going to video that. Actually, I am going to video that because I want to show the difference. So these are flashback arrestors. And these go on the torch handle. These actually came off my Smith's torch. But these work just fine, and like I said, I want to make sure that I don't have any poppity pop. I didn't care when I worked in a shop because, you know, if the shop burnt down, I got the week off. If I burned my own garage down, even though it would bring great delight to a couple of my more twisted friends, I'm looking at you, Dan. It would not be good. So we're going to do that. Remember, poop. Fuel is always backwards. But these are designed to be put on the handle. I guess, for whatever reason, they didn't come with the kit, which I think is kind of weird. But the other ones do. So this is like a double... This is a double insurance policy, and to be totally honest, if I'm running a huge tip, I might not be able to push enough gas to run it. We'll find out, because these do restrict flow a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, I'm not running a rosebud like this big. I'm running, you know, this big. So, we'll see. Boy, but that's fucking dumb. And, like, I read the directions. It shows them right there. But it also shows these. So these are check valves, and they come with the kit. These are flashback arrestors, and they don't come with the kit. When using add-on flashback arrestors, make sure the unit can supply enough gas flow to support the tip being used. Insufficient gas flow can cause equipment failure. Flashback arrestors designed from flashback going beyond the point where they are installed. There are several types available, but they don't come with the kit. Yep, I earned that dumbass prize. I was like, I know these work because they were on my old torch. And I make sure it doesn't get in that valve. I've had Teflon tape screw up stuff. I've had it get into plumbing screens. It cause problems. Yeah, it looks good, right? Take this thing off. Boy, I feel like a jackass. As I should. I should look like I should feel like a jackass because I am a jackass. You know, the other end of the spectrum of all of me doing all of this isn't something that you do on a regular basis. If you have half a brain in your head and you're going to be swapping out torches on a regular basis, then do yourself a favor and just go buy another set of regulators. I have a whole brand new, I don't know if they're Harris, they're good. They're either Harris or Victor. They might be Victor, actually. No, I don't remember. Set of torch hoses and regulators that I use with my my glass blowing torch. They're high flow. They're special regulators. They're not special regulators. They're just high flow regulators. These are not high flow regulators that I'm running with this. Boy, I feel like an asshole. But I'm not editing that out. I'm going to own that. Awful adjustable wrench. I tell everybody don't use. Okay. Now, let's try this again. Alright. Turn the gas on. Turn the gas on. Put some pressure in the line. Hey, that worked that time. Smells like a settlement. Turn the oxygen on. When I was taught how to do this, I was actually taught when I was taught to light a torch, I was always taught to adjust your regulate your pressure from the gauges and not the handles. You can do it either way. Depending on what I'm doing, I will regulate my pressure at my regulators. The pressure going to the torch itself. Let's drop my striker. You don't want an ungodly amount of pressure going to your torch head, because then you run into that flash issue off again. I want to move this. I'm going to leak check these valves too, because they're new. I want to make sure everything looks good. Now there's a big pile of dirt. Now, here's something. I was always taught, I'm letting this sit under pressure to see if it bubbles at all. Usually if you have a leak, it'll be significant. So this is kind of funny. I don't know. This is the striker that came with the kit. Sorry, Miller, but yeah, it strikes, but it strikes, but that really strikes. So let's see. Let's make some fire, huh? Well, we got fire. Probably have glasses on for that. Well, there we go. Now, I'm not going to cut anything right now. Actually, I'm going to shut it off and swap the head out. I want to see what the big one looks like. I love the smell of burning air. It's kind of weird, I know, but I don't see any bubbles yet. Another way to leak check it, it's not a very good idea. As a matter of fact, I highly recommend against doing it, but you can. And I noticed this with my old torch before I noticed it leaking on us, like leaking the way it was leaking the other day. Before I noticed it leaking as badly as it was leaking the other day, I noticed that if I had used the torches, if I'd used the torches, I turned them off, and like 10 minutes later I went back to use them. Even if I turn the valves off on the tanks, because I'm always perpetually turning the valves off, it's a weird nervous habit actually to walk past. There's a reason these are by the door to the exit, because I will check these valves to make sure they're turned off, even if I haven't used them in months. Would you look at that? Oh, I like that. Happiness with fire. Nice even cone. I think that'll work. No pop. Well, there you go. That's my new Miller/Smith's medium to light duty cutting and heating kit. And me making an idiot out of myself because I put the wrong fucking valves on. Oh yeah, that's the business.